This may be the best way to build your new Hae-In. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman coming to you today with a Hae-In early build guide. So guys, before the newest Hae-In, the Pure Sword Princess, hits into soul leveling Arise, we need to go ahead and talk about her new build, more specifically the best new artifacts you guys might want to throw on her, because as you guys know, May's artifact modification is actually ending this new update. So before the new update hits, we're gonna have that event basically gone. Now, before that event goes away, you guys might have some tickets that you might want to be using on these new artifact pieces. But what are those pieces? We're gonna discuss that and more. But before we do, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a live or an upload. Now, not wasting any of your time, let's go ahead and get straight into this. I've actually got it filtered. I think that these 5 artifact sets that you see on screen are the best 5 viable substats or best 5 artifacts you're going to rock on your newest Hae-In. So, Iron Will, Outstanding Ability, Burning Curse, Chaotic Infamy, and the Executioner set, I can say that I predict with a high amount of certainty and a high amount of confidence that these sets will be perfect for your new Hae-In. And of course, we're going to discuss some alternate sets towards the end of the video. I think one more I can definitely add in there is the Warmonger set. I just now thought about it, but the Warmonger set as well. These 6 artifacts now are going to be almost perfect for your newest Hae-In. But let's go ahead and talk about it one by one, starting with the Iron Will set. As we know, Hae-In is going to be a character that has iron, or not iron, but defense embedded into her kit. Now, with that in mind, I do think that she's going to be an ultimate spamming character just because of the Iron Will set. Now, you could argue that this is perfect for Thomas Andre, but I do want to say, man, just by initial viewing, this chest plate piece looks exactly like her side piece. I don't know, it looks like the Iron Will just fits too perfect for Hae-In. Now, that's just pure conjecture and speculation, but regardless, guys, Cha is going to scale off of defense. We've already got this confirmed multiple times throughout the community, so go ahead, start building the Iron Will set, because at the 2 set effect, it's going to increase her defense by 8%, and then at the 4 set effect, each and every time she's activating her ultimate skill, it's going to increase her defense by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. So a maximum uptime of 25% defense in the middle of the battle is insane, plus that 8% defense, and then also increasing the ultimate skill damage for Hae-In 1 time throughout the battle after she uses her ultimate. So very, very good set. What are the substats you guys want to look for that new Hae-In? Of course, if she's going to scale off of defense, for your Iron Will helmets, you want additional defense as the main stat. And then the substats, honestly, these are pretty much the best substats that you guys can go for. So personally, I would go for flat attack on the main stat on the helmet, and then as the substats, I'm looking for defense, I'm looking for damage increase, I'm looking for critical hit rate if it's on the left side, and then critical hit damage if it's on the right side. And then from there, she might be a character with some MP issues, so MP consumption reduction is always a good one to always have. And then after that, regardless, you're not going to get like 4 perfect substats. So this is the main 3 you probably should be looking for. If we have bosses with a lot of defensive scaling, then definitely we want to look for that defensive penetration. But Cha is already rumored to be one of the strongest characters in the game, so I doubt that she will need a high amount of defensive penetration. I think she might need a lot of damage increase in that critical hit rate. So these are the main 3 substats you should be looking for on your iron helmet. Now we can go ahead and talk about the iron chest plate. If we're talking about the chest plate piece, then you can see one of the ones I have, or some of the ones I have. One of them, I did go for defensive percent as the main stat. And when I say go for, right, I really do mean just working with what you have, because you are going to have to work with what you have. Because like pieces like these, right, where I get 3 good substats that I just talked about: defense, critical hit rate, damage increase. I got attack, and then I ended up rolling on attack. So work with what you have. I think that's always the name of the game when it comes to building new artifacts or getting new artifacts with new characters. But you can see some of the pieces that I do have right here. Some of them rolled pretty well, some of them rolled pretty meh. This one is honestly pretty good. We have defensive percent as the main stat. I probably still would want flat defense as the main stat here, but again, working what I got, I think this is probably one of my better pieces that has additional defense as the main stat, damage increase +1, defensive percent +2. This is probably the best piece that I do have for that new Cha that I will throw onto her. So things like that. And then as far as critical hit rate, I can get that through cores, and then we're gonna talk cores that you might want to throw on Cha in a bit, but let's go ahead and keep on going. For the Iron Will gloves, this will have to be attack or attack percentage as the main stat, so don't even worry about that too often. As far as the other substats, on the gloves you guys can now get double defense, so that is something to kind of keep in mind. So regardless, you will get additional attack or attack percentage, that really doesn't matter, but now you can go ahead and try to get double defense. And then of course, if you do get double defense, go ahead and roll on that double defense. So good ways to filter, I just go by sub effects, and then included options I do +2, and I only have 2 of these right now. So you can see I ended up rolling +20 on both of these because I do want a piece with double defense, and I ended up rolling defense +2 and then percent +1, and then on this one attack +2. So that one's but this one is better, and this one will go on my new Cha. Finally, for the boots, we're going to go with defensive percent as the main stat. Now, of course, this might be a very hard one to get. Defense percent as the main stat on Iron Will boots. It's a completely new set. I currently have a few of these pieces and they're not terrible, but to have almost relatively perfect boots, I would want additional defense as a substat. So that is what I would look for as far as that, and I currently just don't have that. So after that, I'm going to probably look for a damage increase, critical hit rate, and then try to go from there. Some of these have damage increase in defensive pen, that's like okay, and then some of these have damage increase, MP recovery. It's bland, but that is how you guys might want to build your Iron Will, your Warmonger. What else do we talk about? So that's going to be your Burning Curse on the left side. That's going to be your Chaotic Infamy on the left side. And then reasons why these might be good for the character specifically. The Warmonger set is going to increase her attack and defense by 3% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. And then we saw in the Hae-In preview that her kit honestly has a lot of hits embedded, so I do predict that she's going to be pretty good when it comes to just getting a lot of hits in for those units. And then the Burning Curse is always going to be good for any type of DPS unit, increasing their damage dealt while increasing their damage taken. I think a 4-piece curse is always going to be viable on characters. It was viable for DPS scaling Thomas and Andre, defense DPS scaling Thomas Andre, but regardless, let's go ahead and keep on talking. I think we talked about Chaotic Infamy. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, personally, I still have not tested my Chaotic Infamy sets, but looking at the just basic know-how of it, increasing the user's basic skill damage, if Cha is more basic skill spam instead of ultimate spam, then it will turn out that Chaotic Infamy might be better for her. Or if we're looking at the 8 set effect that increases the user's basic skill and ultimate skill damage, this might be what you want on Hae-In. So you might want to run Chaotic Infamy at the 8 set effect, especially in things like Guild Boss and Power of Destruction, because in team fight mode, the user's damage dealt will increase by 40%. Now, we talked about all the artifacts on the left side, and then we even talked about some 8 set effects. On the right side though, it gets a little bit simpler. I do think that Executioner Outstanding Ability is going to be 2 staples for any character that does not scale off of attack. Again, these can be very good for characters that do scale off of attack, but we don't have too many artifacts that specifically boost defense on the right side. So with that in mind, we only have the Obsidian and Executioner to really go off of. Right now, there can be other better ones, and then we did talk about the 8 set effects, so Chaotic Infamy is still very viable here. Burning Curse is still very viable because a lot of you guys might not have the level 100 artifacts, so Burning Curse at the 8 set effect might still be viable for you. And then if you don't even have that, then you might just have to rock out with Executioner, and don't rock anything like Champion on the Field. That won't be any use. Expert won't be any use because the child won't scale off of defense. You can rock Concentration of Firepower as a last resort, but that might be the last thing that I would recommend on the right side. And then when we're talking about artifacts, substats on the right side, let's go ahead and talk about them because it can actually change up pretty well. If we look at this Thomas Andre piece, defensive +1, defensive penetration +1, damage increase and critical hit damage. This is almost a chef's kiss one. I would say that when it comes to the main effects for the helmet, or not the helmet, but it's the necklace here, it can only be HP or HP percentage. So with that in mind, you can now go for double defense. So you can get defensive percent and additional defense on one part of a necklace. You can get that for one part. You can actually get that a lot of times in the right side. So that's something to really eat off of. And if you guys get that, if you're lucky enough to roll that more than once, then you are in a very, very good spot. As you can see, I just filtered and I have a few of these, and these are some actually good pieces that I will be enhancing, and I need to really lock up some of these. So let's go ahead, and we will even end up enhancing these because these will be very good if Cha is good with mana. If she has mana issues, then that's okay. This can go to Tamasandre, right? Because we have more than one character. As far as the bracelet, go ahead and throw on water damage percent because she's going to be a water-based character. Try to get additional defense, and then some substats you can also go for is going to be critical hit damage, damage increase, additional MP consumption. So there's a lot you could actually go for here. So on the bracelets, it's going to be work with what you have, but there's a lot of good things that you can have. Now, when it comes to the rings, you want to treat the rings kind of like the helmet because you can go for additional defense or defensive percent. I would go for flat, me personally, and then for substats, we're going for defensive percent, damage increase, critical hit damage, so forth and so on. And then last but not least is the earrings. The good thing about the earrings is that the earrings is fixed for additional MP as the main stat, so you don't have to worry about any RNG there. But as far as some substats, definitely go for that double defense. As always, it's going to be that double defense. Try to get some damage increase, try to get some critical hit damage. This one on Tamasandre right now is pretty good. Additional defense +2, damage increase, and then defensive +1, and then even some MP consumption reduction. So this might be a perfect earring. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to take this earring to the next level. So we're going to go ahead and just reforge this right now, because if Cha is good with mana, then she can definitely use this level 100 obsidian necklace. And then of course, you still want to build Executioner, because if she is not good with mana, then you can build Executioner, because Executioner is quite literally the inverse of Outstanding Ability in that it does not use mana, but it has the exact same substats. So in this case, it's only just working off of HP conditions. So anytime you get your opponent below 70% HP, the damage increase effect increases to 60% versus you guys having mana at 70% or 40% or more of their maximum MP, and then she gets that damage increase. Regardless, just get your opponent to a lower amount. I do think that building the Executioner set might be more viable in this case, but regardless, guys. And then let's not forget about the cores. I do think that Nameless Demon's Deception will be very important for the new Hae-In. I think critical hit damage might be really, really good for a hit or a critical hit rate or damage increase. I think that this one specifically for the top piece or the mind passive is definitely what you want. As far as the body passive, I have some theories, but I think that either the one that increases defense when MP is below 50% might be very, very good for Hae-In, and the one that does increases defense by 6% when 70% or fewer HP, if she ends up cutting her HP in her kit, then this might be good. But regardless, I think it will definitely be one of these. And then the substats, again, you probably want damage increase or a critical hit rate. And then on the body passive, you actually want to pay attention to the main stat. I think you want to go for additional defense because flat stats end up bettering your character. And then as far as the spirit passive, additional HP as the main stat to better your character's power, TP. And then if she does have MP recovery issues, then you for sure want to go for the Teeth of the Watcher, basically this exact one, right? Because this has flat HP as the main stat, damage increase as the substat, and then that's decreasing her skill consumption. What do you think of the early build guide for Hae-In? Go ahead and leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.